Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 50th episode of the Odyssey Files. We are your hosts, the Odyssey Paranormal Society team. And with us for tonight only, even though this is for like I think the 8th time I've tried to invite her to join us, is the great Richel Stratton from A&E's Ghost Hunters, personal friend of mine. Love you to death. Now,
wow.
Now,
so sweet.
Here,
I don't know where he is, but Brian was actually going to be joining us tonight. And the reason why you don't know that, Richel, is because he said he wanted to surprise you.
Okay. I know where Brian's at.
Right, so do I. And he said the Wi-Fi is terrible there, so I don't know if he's actually going to join us or not.
Oh, well, hopefully he does, because I missed his face. I talked to him like 2 hours ago for his drive, maybe longer than that. I don't know. But I talk to him every day. So
do you guys live close to each other? Like, do you see each other a lot?
We live like 5 minutes from each other.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Do we see each other a lot? No. Which is the weirdest thing. Okay, we talk every day, all day long. We're best friends. But his work schedule is so hectic that we barely cross paths. Occasionally we'll see each other or whatnot, but a lot of the we don't see each other as much as everyone thinks. A lot of the time, like if people see Brian and like recognize him, they're like, well, "Hey, where's Richel?" And Brian's like, "Probably at her house. I don't know." Like not attached to the hip, and no one recognizes me, so no one ever asks me where Brian's at. Also, I think I have the face that says "Don't talk to me," which is not the case, guys. Like, I'm not mean, all right? Like, I'm kind of mean, but like, I'll be nice if you come up and talk to me. But when we were filming Ghost Hunters, our producer used to call one of us and be like, "Hey, are you with Richel?" And we're like, "No, we live at separate houses. Like, we have separate lives besides hanging out all the time." And then like they asked me one day, "Does Brian have a computer?" And I was like, "This is a question for Brian." And yes, I'm assuming that he does, because like everybody has computers nowadays. But they would ask like weird I guess that's not like a super personal question, but that's like a question that it's not for me to answer. I'm like, he might have a computer.
So hold on there, because I want to defend the producer or whoever asked you that question a little bit, because I have asked you questions about Brian, and then but my question is like, should I ask Brian or you? And you're like, just ask me.
Well, the questions you ask me, he's going to ask me anyway, so I might as well just answer for the both of us.
But you can answer for the both of you, even on that computer question.
I know when you were asking about flights for Vegas, I gave you all of his information. Birth date, social security number, license.
What? Social security number?
Oh yeah, that
oh
was
my gosh.
That was hilarious, because I was like, "Hey, I need your flight information. What's on your driver's license? Like the name on your driver's license."
You did not ask name on the driver's license. Well, you said driver's license.
I thought that you knew what I was talking about.
No, I thought you meant the number, and I was like, I have never ever had to put in a driver's license number to book a flight, but maybe things changed. I don't know.
Right. So instead of just getting the name on the driver's license that I needed, that they're going to have to show, I got the name, the address, the birthdays, the driver's license number. And I'm like, what are you sending me?
It's like the information you asked for, Mike. All of it.
No, it wasn't. That's okay. We got it all taken care of. And I might add, just to throw in something here, Vegas is only like a little less than 3 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's crazy.
And if anybody who is watching right now did not see it, Lauren and myself have announced the 2022 Minnesota Para Unity Convention. It is going to take place September 29th through October 1st next year at Mystic Lake Casino in Prior Lake, Minnesota. So the website is back up. It no longer has that we're under maintenance thing. So if you want to join us, it's here in the Twin Cities next year. I keep saying this year, but whatever.
Like
next
a half
year,
hour from the airport, so it's pretty accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
Very,
And
very, very excited.
yes, I think a lot of people are going to be able to show up because they don't have to buy hotel rooms because they could it's free parking, by the way. So that's another added bonus. Yep. We should actually put that on the website.
Yeah.
Added bonus, yeah.
Buses as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They do. Yes.
Congrats to all of you guys on your 50th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fabulous.
Our very low effort internet show.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say, Mike, you have asked me multiple times, but it has always been like 45 minutes before you guys go on.
That's an important detail, I think.
Yeah.
Semantics.
So-and-so canceled. Are you able to hop on? I'm like, no, I'm not able to hop on. I'm a mother of two. I'm a wife. I have things I'm doing, like watching movies with my children. I can't just hop on. We have movie nights, and those are important. I'm trying to raise the bar on being.
I mean, no joke. I think those are important.
You see your kids 6 days and like 23 hours. 23 hours.
They're in school, Mike. And they also sleep.
Do they?
That's the thing.
Do they really?
Yeah. And I'm not always home. Like, so I try to make sure that when I am home, it's quality time and I'm not like, oh, I'm going to go hop on the computer and talk.
Yes.
Okay. So,
because it's important.
You asked about this show weeks in advance, and I said yes.
Finally, I have asked you week in advance before, but it's always been nope, busy.
Well, I'm a busy lady. There was baseball season there for a while too.
I know.
Also, I see in the comments, Pamela, you will see me at Malvern Manor again. I'm going next year. I believe it's May 13th and 14th. We're doing an investigation there. So
nice.
Yes. But sorry, just seeing that comment and I wanted to let her know.
That's fine. Okay. People may even be able to see you and Brian at Ashmore Estates with us. Maybe.
I thought we weren't discussing that, Mike. I thought that if it happened, it happened, and if it didn't, it wasn't going to be told because then it's big old jerks that don't show up when you say we're going to be there, and then we can't.
I did say may see you. May.
Yeah.
I didn't say they were, so they may see you.
Okay. Well.
Anyways, who's got a question for Richel? Put her on the spot again.
No one.
I'll go. I can do it.
Okay.
Good.
Hi, Richel.
Hi. I'm nervous.
No. This is
You're
an easy one. I'm not challenging you. Okay, so I know, at least from what I understand, doing like ghost hunters, you guys do longer investigations, right? Like typically for us, we do like a night, maybe 2 nights. So I guess I kind of want to know, like, what's the longest number of days in a row that you've investigated? Kind of what is that like? And then kind of a question for the team, like, how long do you think you could investigate? How many days in a row do you think you could? And like,
1 month,
etc.
So
can you let Richel speak?
So on the show, we typically investigated a location for a week. So the Monday we would get there, we would do interviews, go over history, get claims and everything. Tuesday and Wednesday we would investigate. Sometimes we would investigate a third night. And then the following day, we would review all of the evidence and go over everything ourselves. Any piece of equipment that records any type of audio or video, we went over ourselves. And then we would present it the day after to the clients, and then we would be on our way to the next location. We did investigate Clifton, Arizona. We were there for 2 weeks. And I mean, that was the longest that we had done on the show. We investigate. That is the hardest word for me to say tonight. Oh my gosh. I just got my braces tightened. So they're like adjusting all of my teeth, and now my tongue doesn't hit where it's supposed to when I try, and I may drool. So just like I'm not having a chance. And then for the Sleepless Unrest, we actually lived at the Conjuring House for 2 weeks and investigated. That house is really awesome because you don't necessarily have to like actively investigate, which the house does. Like activity happens just sitting there eating breakfast. And we actually just ended up going back not last weekend, but the weekend before. We were at the Conjuring House. We took our Riverbend Paranormal home team up there, and they had an awesome time, and it was active. It didn't disappoint, and it usually doesn't. So the longest I've investigated is 2 weeks straight without leaving the location. How long do I think I could investigate? I think that depends on the location and how active it is. Because towards the end of those 2 weeks, my nerves were absolutely shot. And we were getting maybe an average of 2 to 3 hours of sleep per night, which, you know, if a couple nights that happens, you still can kind of function. After 2 weeks, your brain is not firing on all cylinders, which I know I've talked to you about this, Mike, when you scolded me about dirt. And I was like, listen.
I was waiting for you to take a breath so I could scold you right now.
Listen, I'm already on top of that, okay? The dirt situation. I collected the dirt for an experiment. I collected it where there are claims that 7 bodies are buried on the land. I collected it. I wanted to do an experiment. The day we were leaving, we had a bunch of stuff to do. We had to take down all of our cameras and everything and pack stuff up. And then we had some finishing things that we needed to, you know, like finishing interviews and stuff about our experience. And we had to return a car and catch a plane. So we're packing like crazy. And I'm just throwing stuff in my back, like just throwing it and trying to get it all together so we can get on the road. And I didn't realize that was in my suitcase until I got home, maybe a week later, maybe 2 weeks. I'm not positive. I decided to unpack because I'm a lazy person. And I unzipped my suitcase to like take out the dirty clothes, and I saw it and I was like, huh, didn't mean to bring that home. I'm not putting it in my yard. I'm not flushing it down the toilet because I feel like that, I don't know. I just felt like it was kind of disrespectful. I'm like, I'll just return it to the home when I go back. So, yeah, I'm an idiot and I brought it home, and it is what it is. And people can scold me if they want. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm going to take this home for a souvenir. It was more like I didn't realize it was even in there type of thing. But
Did Brian return his doll?
No, and he doesn't plan on returning his doll. He has his doll in a case with a camera on it, and he loves that thing. He named it Ava, I believe, and then he found out it was a boy doll. So now he's like, that name doesn't really match, but I can't change it now. But yeah, he has it hooked up to his phone, so he gets alerts if anything goes on with it. And he has some activity where in the room that he has it in, he's set up some equipment and things, but he doesn't plan on returning it. Kendall and Vera did return their nail. And yeah, so that's that. But
Wow.
yes, depending on the location and the activity, I think that like I stayed 2 weeks at a really active location. So I think that I probably could stay somewhere else if it wasn't as active and I got some sleep. But do I think I could go a month? I don't think I could go a month because I would miss my family too much.
Yeah. Honestly, after 2 night investigations, I'm exhausted. Like, I don't think I could do more. At tops, I could do a week. And then at the end of 1 week, I would probably be as exhausted as you were after 2 weeks, because I don't know if it's because I'm empathic or whatever. I just get so emotionally drained after doing 2 days of investigation, like at Ashmore. The end of Ashmore, I'm like emotionally spent. So yeah, that's a week tops.
Yeah. What about you guys? How long do you think you guys could stay at one location? Mike, you said a month.
On the low end, you
On
know,
the end?
the way I see it, sitting in an empty room in a chair staring at, blank walls, the same amount of activity would happen if I was sitting in my theater room watching a movie. So
Yeah, but like you've claimed or told me multiple times that like you are pretty much like anti-activity, like activity goes away from you. So you just be hanging out in a building. I can hang out in a building forever. I hang out like
that's what I mean. I could go for months because it'd just be hanging out in an empty building.
yeah, but like if you did have activity, how long do you think you could go?
I think I would actually be even more interested in investigating, like even longer, if there actually is activity. Like the only reason that I would stop is out of boredom.
Yeah. I will say that eventually you do kind of become numb to activity, which sounds weird, but when we stayed at the Conjuring house, Corey and Jen, like when we would respond to stuff happening, we're like, oh my God, like, did you see that? Corey would say, yeah, it's a haunted house. And it was like, okay. I'm like, now I feel dumb because I got really excited about it. But towards the end, like was biding my time. I was like, oh, Corey, I'm going to get you back with that. And something happened. And I was like, well, yeah, Corey, it's a haunted house. And he was like, ha, ha, ha. But I will say, like, the night before we were going to leave, equipment, like we were trying to go to bed. Every single night that we tried to go to bed, equipment would go off. Like you lay in bed, get comfortable, about to fall asleep, and something would go off. So you get up, you check it out, try to debunk everything. And it kept happening every time we would start to lay down. And by the last night, I was like, do we have to get up anymore? Please. I'm so tired. And I never thought as a paranormal investigator that I would ever be like, can you please just like knock off the activity for the night? Because I want to be able to function and actually like know where I'm going in the airport. And it got to that point. So I don't know.
Did you ever just think that, like, especially after 2 weeks, just shutting off the equipment?
Yeah, I did. If it's not on, it won't go off. And if it does, they have to try really hard. But
They have to turn it on themselves.
but that wasn't what we were doing. So we left it on, and it was awesome, and at the same time so exhausting, mentally, physically, emotionally. It was like nerves are shot. I could not wait to get home to a house that I knew didn't have any activity. Like I was like, I don't have to worry about something bumping my bed while I'm sleeping, like, or a piece of equipment going off.
And then you brought activity with you.
Yes. So that didn't happen like immediately. It was like and it was mostly, I felt like it was like sprinkled in like here and there where it was like, oh, well, that's kind of odd. I'm like, well, maybe, when you come back from investigation, sometimes you have stuff that happens around your house and you're like, hey, go back to where you were, like you came from. You're not allowed to be at my house type thing. And at first I was like, well, maybe my nerves are just so shot that I'm overly sensitive to everything right now. But when I really started paying attention to it was my oldest son would not sit in his regular spot because it was closest to the foyer where we kept hearing footsteps. And I would hear them, And he would hear him, and he would get up and come sit by me on the couch. And I was like, why'd you move? He's like, I feel like someone's walking over there. And I was like, okay. So there's someone else hearing stuff. My dog would respond to like shadows that we were seeing in the house and like get up and like go looking for whoever was there. And my 6-year-old, who is not scared of anything, quite honestly, I'm wondering if I've ruined him completely, because he is like, he's so hard to scare. It's not even funny. Like, I try to scare him sometimes just to see, and it doesn't work. And he like started not wanting to, like, he sometimes comes up in my room and watches TV, and he would come downstairs and it's like, your bed's moving and something's in your room. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I don't like it. So that was weird. And then the last thing was my husband, I was making breakfast and I took a cookie sheet out of the oven, and I was talking to him, and the cookie sheet was behind me, and he was sitting at the island, and I was talking to him, and I heard the cookie sheet move, and his face, like, he is a giant skeptic. He does anything that I try to show him or tell him, he's like, okay, there's a reasonable explanation for that. And I'm like, well, what is it? He's like, there has to be one. That doesn't make sense. When it moved, his eyes got so big, and he looked at me and said, that cookie sheet just moved. And I said, I know, it's cooling down. He said, no, that did not move the way a cookie sheet cooling down moves. He's like, what did you bring home? I said, I didn't bring anything home with me. And then he said, whoever's here needs to leave my house. Like, if you hitched a ride with her, go away. And that was when I was like, okay, there might be something going on in our home. So then I took care of it. And now it's peaceful and quiet again until we start talking about the movie, which is weird.
It happens.
Yeah. It's almost like they pop in to say hello and see, like, what's up.
So we're still on the very first question. So we still have Haley, Scott, and Lauren to go.
I'm sorry, guys. I talk a
No,
lot.
that was interesting.
Mhm.
I'm on the very same page as Sam. I feel like it's either me still getting used to investigating and being like hyper vigilant for like 6 straight hours, or it's just very emotionally draining for me no matter what I do. But yeah, I mean, we did our 2-day event at Edinburgh, and that wiped me out. I don't know if that's just because like I need alone time to recharge. And 2 of my friends came with, so there were 3 people in the hotel room. I was always with somebody else for like over 48 hours, and I need my alone time. So I think that has something to do with it too. But yeah, I probably wouldn't really want to go more than like 4 nights in a row. That would probably be my max right now. I'm sure that'll go up as I, get more used to stuff. But yeah, as of right now, I would say 4 nights. I would be exhausted after that.
Yeah.
So disappointing.
I knew. Give me a break. Still getting used to this.
Which means you're well rested.
Deep end. Like, please.
Everybody's different. Everybody has different recharging activities. Mine are different than yours, Mike. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're as sensitive as a brick, you don't tend to be emotionally drained as much.
Exactly.
Granted though, even though I am as sensitive as brick, I'm with Lauren on that one, because I mean there have been a lot of investigations, especially starting up, when you're full bore, your guard is up, your legs are, all your muscles are stretched tight, because you're wondering if something's going to happen. So when it's finally comes time to relax, and like you're on your way home and you're all safe and nothing really bad happened, oh, that adrenaline, that you crash immediately. Like there have been a lot of times where I get home, I'm out within like 30 seconds. And the next day, you don't get up to like 2:00 in the afternoon, because you're just like, yeah, no, I don't want to do anything. I just want to continue relaxing. And so I'm with you, but then you get up and you go and investigate again.
Exactly.
So Scott, Haley, how about you?
Go ahead, Scott.
If I'm, if there's a lot of activity going on, if I'm seeing and hearing stuff, I don't know that I have a limit. But when there's nothing going on, when I don't see anything, don't hear anything, don't feel anything in the location, it's hard to get through the first night.
Yeah.
Even to go for a few hours with nothing happening is draining.
Yeah.
If something's going on, it energizes me, and I'll keep going for as long as they keep going. But I don't like boredom.
Yeah. It's actually kind of, I guess, ironic that we feel more energized when they're trying to steal our energy than we do when people are just leaving you alone. Like I think we just drain ourselves just out of our own adrenaline, our own, psyching ourselves out. I always think we do it to ourselves more than they do it to us.
Yeah, no amount of caffeine can save you on a boring night. Like,
Yeah.
you can drink all the caffeine you want, you're still tired as hell if nothing's going on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I will admit that I have fallen asleep and snored a few times during EVP sessions.
Oh yeah.
Just a few, one or two.
You are a disgrace.
I know.
God.
I should just
I haven't
leave right.
fallen asleep yet.
I should just resign my post and leave this show.
I mean, you heard it, guys. Bye. See ya. If you ever investigate and you fall asleep during it, I'm going to do something horrible to you. You will never fall asleep around me again.
I haven't fallen asleep around you yet, so I can't do it again.
I'm saying you will never do it again.
Oh, right.
Once, because
that-
I will make sure I traumatize you to the point that you will stay awake.
Okay. This is a serious question now. I would like your answer. Do you really think that there's anything that you could do that would actually traumatize me?
Absolutely. I don't think you know how twisted I am.
There was no hesitation there, Mike. She knew.
Like, I was like, I got 5 things on board right now that would totally traumatize you. I wouldn't even have to
I think that you're overestimating your abilities or underestimating my ability to not be moved by anything.
I wish that we had Brian on because he would be like, Mike, you're playing with fire here. Like, she is demented. Okay. Something's wrong with me.
She's demented.
Yeah. No, like I'm gonna flat out, I'm a bad person. I'll flat out say it. But maybe you guys are too. Maybe you're a bad person too. Maybe it's a normal response. Okay. We were at the Halloween parade and I didn't want to go to the parade, but I went for my children. I don't like parades because grown ass people get in front of children and take candy, and I don't like that. And I'm like, I'm going to shove you down, but that's not appropriate. A guy on a unicycle drives by, and I smirked, and my husband was like, "No," and I was like, "What?" He's like, "I know what that smirk is about. No, you can't do it." And I was like, "You don't even know what I'm thinking." He's like, "You want to knock him off of it." Like, you know what I'm thinking. I was like, I immediately wanted to kick the wheel. Like, just see what happens. Like, how good's your balance, sir? Like, are you good? Stick something in the spokes and just see what happens. Then I was like, what's wrong with me? That's like a bad person thing to think.
The second you said, and I smirked, I was like, she's going to trip him.
I know, right? I also think him on the stilts. I was like, big trees fall hard, sir. Like, I mean, I guess I'm not a horrible person. I think it, but then like, there's the other person inside my head that's like, don't do that. That's mean. I'm like, but I just want to see how I love watching people fall. Like I do. And it's not, I don't want them hurt, but like, have you watched a person's face or like what their body does as they're trying to catch themselves? Like, have you watched it? I'll watch videos all day long of people falling and laugh so hard. I think. Come on, speak up. You guys are like that too, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I like that.
No.
It's funny. As long as they're not hurt, then it's funny.
Right? And
I
I laugh.
If someone
just
gets
hard.
hurt, then I don't like it. But yeah.
I'm not that bad of a person. Okay, so it snowed at our house like a couple years ago. It snowed before then, but like, you know what I mean? And I went outside to get in the car and I had Crocs on. I wear Crocs all the time. Like I just, they're just wonderful. Okay. I'm walking outside. It had melted on our sidewalk in our driveway. Our driveway is kind of like a steep hill. And it had melted, but then it had frozen again. And I didn't know that. And I hit that driveway and flew straight back on my keister. My Crocs went flying. I sat there cracking up laughing so hard. And then I crawled to get my shoes. Falling. And then I decided I didn't need to go anywhere. And we have cameras outside of our house. So my husband got to watch this video and he's like, so like I was worried. He's like, I thought that you were really hurt. And he's like, then I seen you were sitting there just laughing. He's like, but my favorite part is that you didn't stand up to get your shoes. You crawled to get your shoes. And then you just decided like whatever you went to initially go do that you didn't need to do anymore. But I sat there and I watched it and I laughed so hard at myself. I was like, look at me. I'm such an idiot. Who wears Crocs in the snow?
Do you still have that video?
No, we deleted it. Unfortunately, we needed space. I should have saved it.
You should have put it on YouTube.
Oh yeah. I'll try to,
Yeah, try to recreate that.
Yeah, anytime it looks slick outside, I'll just go and like run and see what happens.
Make sure you're wearing your Crocs and maybe a helmet just to be on the safe side.
No, I think
no. Okay.
You just have to check if gravity works once in a while,
Yeah.
Okay. Haley, how about your answer?
I think I'm kind of with Scott on like that it depends on how active it is. Cause yeah, if I'm bored out of my mind, then like I barely want to do 2 nights. But if it was really active, I think I could definitely do like a week for sure. But I think it would have to kind of be like what Richel said about the Conjuring house, where it would be like you're not purposefully super investigating all the time, but like it kind of things are just happening, and like I'd have to be like playing cards or something, or like I'd need some alone time break to like go do Haley stuff, because that's the other thing is I do get drained by, as much as I love the team, being around 4 people for several days in a row is like I'm gonna ruin all of your decks soon because I can't do this anymore. I need some Haley time, so that's where I'm at with that. So Mike wins, I guess. I don't know.
If we ever have to do that, here's what I'll do. If we ever become rich enough in order to do something like this, where we just have an exorbitant amount of time to investigate one location, not only will I get a hotel room for each of us, I'll get one so that each night one person can stay by themselves and get that alone time in there and recharge, and then we can continue on with the investigation.
You're such a good person, Mike.
Thank you, Richel.
I'd appreciate that.
We'll see if that ever happens, but that would be nice if it did happen.
Give it time, Sam. Give it time. All right, so who's got another question?
I have a question. So I want to get everybody's opinion on near-death experiences. Do they open you up a little bit more? Like, what do you think? Because we've all heard the stories of people like, oh, they have a near-death experience and then they see all these things and they're open to maybe more open than they were before. So I guess, what do you think? What does that actually happen? Are people just going crazy? Like, what is your opinion on that? And how do you think that happens?
It's all you, Richel.
I think that having a near-death experience definitely opens you up to more. Like, because it's near-death experience or dying for like a small portion of time, like a couple seconds or a minute or whatnot, you're crossing over into like you're crossing over. And then when you come back, I feel like it's almost like it opens you up to being able to see that easier because you've been there. And I don't know if the people on that side are like, oh, we've recognized you because you've been over here. So they feel more connected with you. I don't know how it happens, but I've talked to a few people who have, this sounds really weird. I've talked to a few people who have died and since then have had paranormal experiences and abilities that they didn't have before, that they've like tapped into somehow. And it happened after that experience. So I think that there is a connection with it. Do I know what it is or can I explain it? I have no idea. But just based off the couple people I've talked to, I think that there's definitely something to it.
Yeah, I've also, I've also talked to people that have had similar experiences where they've brushed close to death and they develop, sensitivities that they haven't done before. And I think it kind of makes sense when you think about, maybe dying for a few minutes and then being brought back, you getting closer to the spirit world or the other side or whatever you have to call it, or whatever you want to call it. I think it makes sense that it might open you up more because you've been there. Your soul, your energy in your body, whatever you want to call it, has been close to there. So maybe it's just more sensitive. But that's obviously just a theory. And yeah, so I think it makes sense, but I'm not sure. I'm very much a experience it to believe it kind of person, but I hope I don't have a near-death experience. I'd rather not, but yeah.
I think another thing that is interesting is like we don't really know what time is like when you're on the other side. So if you die for a second in like your human body and your soul moves on to crosses the veil or however you want to look at that, like maybe that's like you're there for a whole day. And I do like what Richel said, like it's sort of like you go there and spirits might recognize you as someone who is there, or maybe to them like they see your soul as being part of that world, so they're more open to you. I do think near-death experiences are really interesting. However, I do think we have to like breed a little bit of skepticism to it, just because like depending on how long you're dead, you're not getting oxygen to your brain, and that can cause some damage. And I'm not trying to say that people who die briefly are having hallucinations, but if your brain is damaged from that experience and you're seeing things, that's something to consider there. And I'm not trying to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I get it. If I don't say things when I think of them, then I'll forget it. So say what you have to say.
But you also have to think about, okay, so they say that we only use like 10% of our brain or whatnot. So when you do pass away, if you do have a little bit of brain damage, not saying that people do, but if you do, like if that happens, maybe like your brain is wired that if there's an injury, it reroutes like the neurons and the I can't think of the word.
Synapses.
Yeah, that. The synapses, it rewires it so that you can still function. And maybe if that happens, you unlock a different part of your brain that is more sensitive to that because of the rewiring.
I almost thought that you were going to say, so we only use 10% of our brain. So if you get brain damage, you still got more brain left. Like
You got 90% in the reserves.
You're fine. You still got 99% of your brain. You're
I mean, I
fine.
feel like that's the dumbed down version of what I said. Like, you just unlock a little bit other portion of it and bring it back.
Which I don't want to be the actually, but that is a myth. We do use 100% of our brain.
I don't think
But-
that everyone does.
See, now you're onto something. I think I do agree with you.
I will
Yeah.
include myself on that. Like, sometimes I don't know if I even use the 10%.
But
Like,
what is true that different people use different parts of their brain more often. So after something traumatic like that, you're right. If you have brain damage, rerouting the neurons could unlock different parts of your brain that you maybe didn't use as much before. So I like that theory, just not the 10% of the brain part, because we use 100% of our brain.
okay. Again, not
No,
everyone.
that is a good theory. In theory, we use all of it. However, yeah, we all know that not everybody does.
Yes, I know that for a fact.
Scott, how about you?
Yep, I got nothing else to add, so go ahead, Scott.
Oh,
Yes, I think that a near-death experience can open you up to further experiences. Now, I've told you guys before that I've pretty much my entire life I've seen and heard things, experienced things. What I didn't tell you was that I was my twin was miscarried, was born dead, and I was basically born dead. So I was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around my throat. I could not breathe. They managed to revive me, but I was born dead. And I cannot remember a time in my life when I did not have like psychic experiences, and I started seeing apparitions when I was 6 years old. So I guess my first experience in life was a near-death experience. And I've had others. I had an experience where I was going out on the highway on the interstate. My tire blew out. My car started spinning around, and I was waiting for a crash. And all of a sudden, I was outside of the car, looking down, watching my car spin, and experiencing this as being totally separate from my body. And when I realized that I was going to be okay, I was back in my body and back in the car. But anyway, yes, I think it does open us up more. And I think when people have near-death experiences where they actually die, I think what they experience there is pretty much what they believe in. You know, some people say they see a light, they see angels or whatever. Other people say they see nothing. And I think it's what you really believe in is what you're going to experience there. You're going to experience something of what you really expect to experience in that situation. Is what you're going to see. But yes, I do think that people can become more open to it when they live through something like that. That's my answer.
so I'm going to take this a couple different ways, and I'm going to start off with the movie Constantine, because I think that's an amazing movie, and it's got a lot of different theories and thought processes about what goes on afterwards, and about God, religion, heaven and hell, all that kind of stuff. And so the part about when you die, if you're dead here for like a second, 2 seconds, a minute, how long are you actually over on the other side? When you're doing this, how fast does time move? And again, I don't even know if near-death experience people have really been able to say that. I know that they've had like full-on experiences, like they're talking to God or whatever. They're getting all, they don't want to come back. They're living in heaven. Holy Jesus, what is all that noise?
I don't know.
Okay, well, whatever. It's like a bass in my ear.
I think
Sorry.
somebody's phone's vibrating near the computer.
Maybe. So there's that part of it. How long are you actually over there? I don't want to do it, but I would love to investigate with somebody who had a near-death experience and see if you could get like the spirits to be like, hey, I know you. We did this over on in heaven or whatever, and see if you could actually get spirits who are still on the other side to recognize the person that you're with. Now, why the extra activity? I'm not exactly sure. I'm wondering if when your soul leaves and goes over there, let's just say for the sake of argument that time does move differently and you have an eternity over on the other side before you're brought back. Your soul now has all of those new abilities, has all those new experiences, has all that new knowledge. And I think that even though our conscious brain can't really process it, I think you still have, for whatever reason, you get those abilities. You're changed. You come back different, not necessarily in a bad way, but that sort of thing has to change your energy in some fashion. You're not just going to be the same person you always were. And I'm wondering if, because you've been on the other side, you have been exposed to it for so much, if perhaps, yeah, you're just able to see it. You're able to perceive it more so than anything else. Like I've always wondered if, beyond our ability to perceive it, if there's an entire world, like, half a second behind you or half a dimension away or something like that, where all you need is just a little kick and it becomes available to you. And I would think a near-death experience, visiting that place would make your mind give you the ability to actually experience it. Maybe not all the time, because that would suck, but it happens. So that's my answer. Lauren, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I have not had a near-death experience, so I cannot speak from experience on that end. But yeah, I've spoken to a few people that have, and I mean, a lot of the like, not sentiments, but like the ideas are the same in that they are a little bit different than when they, like, before their experience happened or whatever it is, if they do remember what they were like before that experience happened. Like if it happened like Scott way, way early in your childhood, you might not remember what it was like before. So, yeah, I do think that things get opened up when you do have a major life experience of any kind, specifically if it's a near-death experience that's going to affect you rather than maybe a really traumatic experience, but it wasn't a near-death experience. Like all of these experiences affect us in different ways and mold your energy, because I feel like our energies are very moldable and we can get impacted in a lot of different ways. And something that traumatic can definitely change you, whether it's how you think, what you're afraid of, because maybe now you fell off a boat and you almost drowned. Now you're scared of going out on boats. There's that side of things that's almost like PTSD level kind of things. And then you also get the like spiritual, like not metaphysical, but like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of there's different aspects of that and how that impacts your energy. But yeah, I think it depends on the person as well, because everybody is different. Everything impacts people differently. So it is dependent on the person, but yeah, My mind goes in a lot of different places with that question, as you can tell, and I'm not that great at articulating them in a very laid out fashion. But yeah, my mind is going a few different places, but I wanted to throw it to the group and see what y'all thought. So thank you for your answers.
I think you all did wonderful articulating it. You didn't do any hand motions. This is actually more in sign language versus synopsis, whatever. So I think you did great. I was going to draw a little doodle and be like, this is a brain. This is a brain on death.
No, I think Lauren, I really, really like your theory because you're absolutely right about trauma. It literally does rewire your brain. So any experience that is going to change the way your brain functions could, potentially open up your brain to more senses, more things. So yeah, I really like that point. I thought that was interesting to think about.
The other thing that I want to mention about the brain situation and why like possibly opening up a different part of your brain may make you more sensitive or whatnot is a lot of people who are mediums or psychics, they describe where they can like pinpoint exactly where like an image or something's coming from in their brain. Like I talked to someone and they're like, when I see visions or whatever, it's off to the side in the back. Like, and a lot of people have said, like a lot of different psychics and mediums I've talked to describe it that way, almost like they pinpoint where in the brain it's coming from. And I would love, if I had tons of money, to do research on that and like map the brain, and when they're getting visions or having these psychic abilities, what part of their brain is actually firing off.
Have any of you ever seen the show? Probably a lot of you have seen the movie, but the show, The Dead Zone?
No.
I believe I've seen the show. I believe I have. The guy, okay, it sounds really stupid, but the guy who's in Halloween Kills, the one that's like Evil Dies Tonight, that is like in starting. Have you guys seen that? Is this a spoiler alert?
Nobody has ever seen Halloween Kills because it's a terrible movie.
You can't say it's a terrible movie if you've never seen it. I agree that it wasn't my favorite Halloween, but I'm just saying I think that the guy from Dead Zone is in that, but I'm not positive.
Anthony Michael Hall.
I have no idea. Does he have blonde hair?
People died all the time. I guess let me look that up.
Do you have a picture of him? I don't know names. I'd be able to be like, yes, I've seen that guy. I've seen that show. I think it is. I think I've seen it. It sounds very familiar.
Not according to this, no.
He doesn't have blonde hair?
Oh, wait. Yes, he is in it. You are correct. Most people would know Anthony Michael Hall as The Breakfast Club. He was the nerd in The Breakfast Club.
Okay, yeah, but he looks...
Well, he's older. I mean, he looks 65, which I think he probably is. But
but don't guess.
What do I care? He's a celebrity. You can't get me for slander. So, but yes, he is in it. But the reason why I bring that up is the whole show is premised on his ability when he touches things, that what he calls the dead zone kicks in, and he's able to see past events, future events, even present events that have some sort of association with whatever he's touching. And it's an amazing show. Everybody should see it. We'll add that to the list. But it's interesting because there are people, like I think Amy Allen does that too. Like you'll even see her on the show. Like when she approaches something, she'll put her hand like on a door or something like that, or on the framework or something like that, and just kind of feel. So I mean, people are able to do that, and I think that's just an energy transfer. And as we all know, energy has no bounds. It's not bound by time. It's not bound by space. So you could literally, if you were able to control it and figure out how to do it, really just go forward, backwards in time just by touching something. whatever the lifeline of whatever you're touching is, I think you could go up and down it, or whatever it is. So whether that's caused by a near-death experience, which that was in the show, he was in a coma for 6 years. Yeah, I agree. It can
6 years.
Yeah, on the show he was in a car accident, nearly
Who the
died.
fuck is paying for that?
He had a rich family, so yeah, and he was in a coma for 6 years, and then somebody came out of it.
Well, we all know that Sam's gonna pull the plug real quick. It's gonna be 6 years, but he's gonna be
Hey, are you gonna blame me or are you gonna blame the fucking American healthcare system? Just saying.
No, I'm gonna blame you. If
He's
I'm
like,
gonna,
who's paying for that? Who's footing that bill? Who would keep you
I mean,
alive
6
that
years, like you would think after like 2 years, they'd be like, I don't think he's waking up. It's been 2 whole years. You know?
you never know. They can wake up at any point in time. You just have to believe and have
Comas
faith.
are scary.
They are. I
Very
agree.
Scary.
Especially when they say that, like they can hear you and stuff, like in the outside world, they can hear you talking, they can hear you reading stories to them. They just can't wake up. I think that would be terrifying to be in one. And like, I think I'd wake up really, really mad. Like I would in some way keep a list of everything that I want to say to people and be like, where's this person? We need to talk because they said this 3.5 years ago. We need to get this taken care of.
I wonder if
That
we-
is a very you response.
I wonder if you can get things in a coma too, though. Like if you're like, make a mental note to talk to them about that, and then you're like, hey, I want to talk to you about something because I'm mad at you, but I can't remember why. It's something you said, but I can't remember exactly what it was because it was 3 years ago, but I'm still upset about it.
I haven't been able to work it out.
Yeah.
Just saying, things stick with you. All right. So who's got the next question? Samuel. Or
2 minutes left. So a fun little question.
We're with Richel until midnight. I forgot to tell you guys this.
I didn't sign up for that.
Now I'm out of here at 9
either.
p.m. sharp.
There you go again, saying crazy things, Mike. Like, I think you've been boozing it up. Sir.
Oh, I say such silly things. All right. Well, how about this? Richel, do you have a question for us? Apparently not.
I'm
Let
thinking.
her drink her drink.
You hate
It might give you a solid 5 seconds to
Yeah.
like answer a question.
Yeah.
We're live on air, people.
I'm trying to think, okay? Like,
Okay.
do I have a question for you guys?
How are we so awesome?
Yeah. How did
I
you
know.
become the best paranormal investigation team?
I know that. You were
Oh, that's
born and then it happened. Like, you were born with the awesomeness. It's just the way it works. What is your guys' bucket list location to go to? I can be individually or that's kind of a generic one, but I always like to know what people think.
I really, ever since I saw the Ghost Hunters episode so many years ago, I've wanted to go to St. Augustine Lighthouse real bad. I want to go there very bad.
That's a cool location.
Says the person who's been able to go. Yeah. Twice.
Twice.
I will say it's very hard to investigate in the lighthouse though, because it echoes. It echoes so much, and it's tighter quarters than you think, and those stairs are a bitch. But
Yeah.
it's very cool. It's very cool to go to, and you should go.
If I get the chance, I definitely will.
Yes. All right. What about you, Scott?
Well, there's so many, but the first one that popped into my head when you asked that was Alcatraz. So
Yeah.
I would like to.
Have you been to Alcatraz?
No, I haven't.
I've been there, but I haven't investigated. I just went during the day on a tour, and it's It's cool, but it feels like eerie. Like you can. It sounds stupid, but it's like you can feel it's haunted. You're like, there's stuff here, but yeah, that's a good one. I don't know if they let you do investigations there or not.
They do, but you have to pay through the teeth because you have to like pay for like government officials to
Yeah.
actually be there with you. You have to pay for the ferry ride over, the ferry ride back. You probably, I think you have to pay for permits in order to do it. We actually were invited to join a team that's out in Nevada because they're working on it for 2023. And I think that they were paying like $3,500 in order to investigate it. And that was like they had an in. So they're like in, and they still had to pay like $3,500.
So are you gonna go?
Fuck yeah.
I was gonna say, make Scott's dreams come true and take him, Mike. Jeez.
And we're
Well,
all going if that happens.
Well, of course. It was the invite was to the team, not to me.
Yeah. Good.
So well, it's
So
my team,
take
but
me
whatever.
with you. Take me with you.
Well, I'm sorry, Richel. You have to have movie night with your kids.
That's fine. That's fine. Mike
Got him.
Listen, if I have to choose between letting you down or letting my children down, that's an easy choice.
Yeah, your children.
They have to have something to tell their therapist. That
Yeah,
it's
but
my fault. I'm gonna let them down.
Exactly. They love you. They'll get over it. Me? No.
Well, that just hurts. You told me earlier that you loved me. Oh my god. All right. Back
anyway.
to Haley. How about you?
I really want to do the Queen Mary. I would do like anywhere in New Orleans because I feel like that whole place is just so haunted and like the vibe there is just something different. So I'd say those are like my top two places. I don't know how to choose between the two of them.
Nice. Lauren, what about you?
I gotta go with Scott on this one. I would love to go to Alcatraz. It was like so Mike knows this. My interest in the paranormal started with me making binders of research just on all the creepy things that I could find. And Alcatraz was the first thing that I researched because, you know, when you research most haunted places in America, what comes up first? Alcatraz. So
Waverly.
it has what?
Waverly.
Yeah, that one was up there. But Alcatraz was first for me. It was my first paranormal book that I bought was on the experience of Alcatraz. So for that reason, I have to say Alcatraz because it's a little more sentimental. Also, it's weird because I'm terrified of going to a prison, but I really want to go to that one.
You're going to get left there.
I will. I know what's going to happen, but I want to go so bad. So bad.
2023, apparently. All right, Mike.
Yeah.
Apparently. That's a big apparently.
Mhm.
We'll see if that actually pans out.
Island of the Dolls.
Yes.
Yes.
No thanks. That's a hard no for me.
I'll pass.
Mike, if I go there, never mind. Because you don't love me and I'm not. No, never mind. I was going to invite you, but I changed my mind.
I'll tell you what. If you take me to the Island of the Dolls, you can pick your kids over me for the rest of their lives.
I feel like I'm going to pick them over you anyway because they came out of me. So,
But
like, you
but
scared a body at one point in time. So,
but
there is no but.
I'd say
Trump Mike. Sorry.
I was just going to say, but I will forgive you.
I'm going to be honest. I don't care. We're picking my kids over you. I don't like that's a you problem at this point.
That's fine. Whatever.
It hurts, doesn't it?
No.
It hurts when someone you care about slaps you in the face, doesn't it? It does.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't. All it does is make me want to not invite them to conventions anymore.
We're being so mean right now. Lots of the already signed contracts, bitch.
There are a few clauses in there. I'm sure that I could use. That's right. Yep, you're good for Minnesota. You and Brian will definitely be there for in September 2022. But past that, we'll see.
Well, you win some, you lose some.
Yes, yes, indeed.
If I will let everyone know. I don't when they like. If anyone asks why I don't get to come to the convention anymore, I'll say I chose my kids over Mike, and he got upset about it.
No. That's not it. If you go to Island of the Dolls and not take me,
okay. You also know that there are so many like outlying factors that it's not like okay. If I personally go to Island of the Dolls and I'm not like it's me running the show, I will take you.
Thank you. That's all I know. That's all
I'm not running the show and I get to go, I'm going to rub it into your face, like in your face. I'm like, I get to go, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, well, that does it for tonight.
On such a good note.
That it is a fine note. Thank you, Richel, for coming on. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Always
Thank
a pleasure.
you.
Thank you for having me. I had fun.
Of
And
course you
despite
did.
how me and Mike bicker, I really do think he's a swell guy.
A swell guy.
And Richel, I really do. Hi.
You're all right.
I really do wish you a good evening.
I wish you the best
I do. I
in
wish you the
all
best.
your future endeavors.
Maybe not all. That's a lot. That's a lot. So maybe like 60% of your future endeavors. Anyways, thank you honestly for coming on. But I hope you will come again. Obviously not next week, but in the future, it'll be good. And we'll all see you like 2.5 weeks.
I know. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. So anyway, that does it for us this week. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode 51 of the Odyssey Files. So until then, stay safe, stay healthy. Everybody have yourselves a great night.